Welcome into the Dice Dragons Guild. In this hall, we unite under one banner. Live by the die.
Die by the die.
Ah,
I am
done a normal
Izzi,
voice.
your lore master, and we are continuing with our story, Eleothis, Land of the Woven Sons. Sorry, I have a mint. Apologies, everybody listening.
I think half of us do.
I crunched it before we started.
With me tonight, I have...
I go first this time? I don't think I have. Hello, my name is Adam. I play Eldon Strockhaven. He is a human Drake Warden Ranger, and I rolled a nat 20.
Nat 20. Holy shit, that's a 25 on your initiative. All right. Who's next?
Something bad's going to happen to me tonight.
You.
Oh,
Me.
sorry, I forgot I picked.
No, you're fine.
I am
Am I supposed
Ayla,
to pick?
Myrea. That's my character's name.
I
My
go
real
first, I
name
didn't even get to pick.
is not Cuba, but that's what I'm going by for right now, apparently. I play, she is a glamour bard, and I rolled an 8.
She's
An
a
8
tiefling.
plus 3.
Oh, she's tiefling, too.
11.
I feel like I carried mine off. I was actually fairly smooth this time. You'd. Ooh.
I don't carry that amount of charisma in real life.
Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I play Iolite. She's an Earth Genasi Circle of Stars druid, and I also rolled a nat 20.
Oh,
22.
22. Okay. Who's next?
Are we just going around the
Patrick.
cir- There we go.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Patrick. I play Malachi Morningstar. He's a Dampier Hexblade Warlock, and I rolled a 19.
What the?
Nice.
What the? Okay.
Wow.
So I'm in the suck today.
I'm going to re-roll my die
Way
because I
down
can.
the bottom.
Julie.
What?
Hi.
Badly.
Oh. Well, I know. Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Julie. I play Kethra Evermoon, a human Circle of the Moon druid, and I rolled a 14.
Yeah, no,
Not bad.
Bad. Look at
What'd
that.
you roll
Double
again?
digits
I rolled
all
an 8.
around.
I'll put you down on the stand.
You did so bad,
So
you go
far,
down
the
here.
Yeah, but
You're in
that's
the
still,
dirt.
that's still like a 10 for you, right?
Oh, it's
And with my
11, I think.
re-roll as the lore master, I rolled a nat 20 as well.
Wait,
So
no.
you had a reroll?
What?
Yep.
Is that a legendary action? Like, what the fuck's going on here?
Oh, you have one of these. You have one of these things too.
I have 5 of them.
She's like, I am this thing.
We are continuing with our story, and you can follow it along on Patreon and YouTube, where our VODs are out there for free.
I don't think it was gonna be that loud.
You can get early access to our podcast, which comes out on Spotify on Mondays, and we release it as soon as we can during the week after I edit, for those of you on Patreon and YouTube. Additionally, you can watch our recaps courtesy of scribequill.com, SCRYBE quill.com, which takes your audio, it does a transcription, it makes a summary, and then you get to choose voices and background music and have a little recap that is narrated for your party. You can edit it so that you're making sure that all of the things are spelled correctly. And you can check those out, again, on our YouTube. I did not get to edit the one from last week quite yet, but it will be up very soon, possibly tomorrow. We'll see. Merch. You can go to tinyurl.com/DDG merch.
That's
You
again.
can check out some of the designs that we have. Live by the die, die by
We
the
didn't
die.
call the rest of everybody else and tell them,
Just
hey,
cover
where
the
the live by.
Well,
Not our
fate.
merch, sorry.
He's like, pardon the kid.
You gotta do this.
Not sponsored by Reggae on West Beach, but we are in the Massachusetts South
If you
Coast
are in New
area.
Bedford, go check it out.
You can go to New Bedford during the summertime on Sundays. I don't know if it's every Sunday or a couple Sundays, whatever the case may be. You can check it out on Instagram. There is Reggae on West Beach, which was started by one of my bestest friends, handed off since then to other local creatives, but it's a really great, totally free. If you're in New Bedford, go check that out during the summer months.
And we
No,
would have
we're-
been
we're
going to
all
it more
opposite,
regularly if we did not decide to start playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, because it is on Sundays from 3 to 7. All right, next up, music. We are happily using Monument Studios Fantasy Plus, Michael Gelfi Studios, Alexander Miller, aka the Boy King of Idaho, of which our theme, All Hail the Six, is from Alexander Miller, and Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech for our ambiance and our background music. Links will be found in the show notes to all of those creators, and we thank them very much for allowing us to use their sounds and soundscapes and music royalty-free. Or at least without suing us. Cons and events. Rising Phoenix Con, April 25th through the 27th. That is a TTRPG themed con. You should go check that out. I have not looked to see any of the other ones. I'm sure there are some coming up in May. I will add those to the next one that we are doing. Anything else I'm forgetting?
Like, share, subscribe.
Gonna say thank you for the people
Nope,
who
nope,
comment
nope. You can't say anything
on
else. You already said it.
the YouTube videos because you help us by doing that.
Nope.
Thanks
Doesn't
for the
count.
comments.
Take it back.
Here we go. The molten roost groans beneath your feet. The cavern is still warm with the fading echoes of something divine, something terrible. Vascan Veterex is gone, risen from the storm. But the wounds he left behind are still raw. All around you, keepers and liberators kneel beside empty spaces where drakes once stood. They murmur names into the ash, press trembling hands to the scorched stone, or weep openly into the shoulders of the only ones who might understand. Some pace like spirits without purpose, clutching at pieces of shattered bond stones. Others sit in stunned silence, bodies battered from battle, bloodied, bruised, but alive. Still others didn't make it. You see them too. Shattered across the roost, like punctuation marks in a story you're only just beginning to understand. You walk in silence with Kai, Kethra, and Ayla. The four of you, moving like ghosts through the grief. No one stops you. Some look up, hollow-eyed. Others don't see you at all. And all the while, the mountain rumbles. Deep, ancient, unsettling, like something turning in its sleep far below. It could be miles beneath you. It could be right behind that next wall. You can't tell. You feel it in your teeth, in your bones. And then the sound of stone cracking, steel clashing, a voice screaming in the dark. Not here. Not now. Then you realize you're not in the roost anymore. It's darker, narrower. The stone isn't red with heat. It's cold, familiar. It's the sidereal assembly. Your breath catches. The air smells of ozone and blood and something burning. You hear people shouting, screaming, your name. You remember now how it felt to waken in Desdir's room, how his fingers grabbed your arm before you could bolt upright. The way his voice trembled when he whispered, "Don't move." How he held the door closed with shaking hands as footsteps passed, then returned. How he wove the vines into a ladder with trembling fingers, whispering apologies, how you refused to go, how he made you. You remember the heat of his cloak around your shoulders, the way his eyes wouldn't meet yours when he said, "I'll be right behind you." You remember climbing down, your hands numb, your vision blurred with tears and smoke, and the moment you looked up, just in time to see him looking down at you, curly hair framed in golden moonlight and shadow. Then he was gone. You ran, just like he told you, just like he begged you, and you lived. But what did he face after you were gone? What monsters did he have to fight, within and without your voice beside him? What choices did he make while he watched the world burn and you vanished below? You were supposed to be his guiding star, and when he needed you most, you weren't there. That truth cuts deeper than any blade. You blink, and the mountain is beneath you again. The ash, the heat, the groaning stone, but your heart is still in the observatory, still in the ladder of vines. You won't make that mistake again. Your legs move before the thought finishes forming. You turn, you run, not away this time, but back toward the heart. Where we see Eldon and Zuruk. Pyrathorin and Theratrix, you land in the heart of the mountain. There is no longer a pulse of magma. The veins that had given light to this room are starting to fade. The heart is no longer beating. Zuruk lands next to you and hops off of Pyrathorin, coming over to you, grabbing your shoulders. And seems so much bigger, and yet something has changed, even as you look at Theratrix, who has grown significantly in size, able to now carry you. Zuruk grabs your shoulders, looks down, and his big toothy grin is slightly subdued, but you can tell he's very happy with this turn of events. And he says, "We did it, brother. We did it."
We did. But what does it mean?
He has ascended. Together we will find out. But the secret is no longer bound within the stone of the Vascan Mountains. It is free. Things will change. We will need to be the leaders of this movement. Are you ready for that responsibility?
The leaders of what? Exactly.
As he speaks to you, you start to feel there's that rumbling all around you. It feels like far off, but then could be right around the corner as well. It's like coming up from under your feet. And Zuruk stops a moment, lets go of your shoulders, and says, "Can you feel that?" And this rumbling kind of travels along the ground as you stop, looking in no direction in particular, just around the cavern. You feel the rumbling move up your legs, up your torso, and kind of settle into your chest. And as you and Zuruk stand, there's this warmth that's kind of settling in your chest. And an almost like growl that is sitting there for both of you. And Zuruk reaches up, puts his own hand on his, around his amulet that he wears on his chest, and then you feel as he begins to speak, there's almost like a rumbling that comes forth from his voice. And he looks up at Pyrathorin and says, "Do you feel it as well, old friend?" And Pyrathorin, who is towering over everyone in this room, just nods. And you feel as well. Zuruk looks to you and says, "Something has changed." And Theratrix actually looks at you, Eldon, and says to you, "You are no longer the eyes of the Ur-Dragon." And Pyrathorin says in this deep voice that I cannot replicate, "You are the voice of the World Dragon." And you now, let me find it. You and Zuruk are the voice of the World Dragon. You have the ability to feel through tremor sense within 10 feet while you're on natural terrain. You have advantage on survival checks to navigate natural terrain. You also now have the ability to commune with nature once per long rest with no components. Dragons recognize the voice of the World Dragon Authority.
Damn.
And
You just became the Metatron.
grant you deference. They will not just obey you just because these are dragons. But you have advantage on charisma-based checks that deal with dragons, dragonborn, half-dragons, and kobolds.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, you sit.
Dude, you're Paul Atreides. You have the voice. Yes. You can walk in where your master is and just be like, release him!
Can you send that to me, or should
Yeah,
I?
I'll send it. I'm just... Theratrix has a claw attack.
Oh shit!
That is 1d6 plus proficiency bonus. And once per long rest, if Theratrix is reduced to 0 hit points, he erupts in a 10-foot blast that deals 3d10 of the breath damage, a dex save for half. One thing that you noticed as Pyrathorin stepped forward to talk to you with Theratrix is that where there had not been this heaviness in his step, the ground around you shook. Theratrix and Pyrathorin are no longer spirit dragons. They are dragons. You cannot dismiss Theratrix. If he dies, you can resummon him, but you cannot resummon with the snap. And once every 10 days, you also have the ability to do legend lore with no components.
Okay, I'll have to look up that spell because I don't know what that spell does, but it
So
sounds
she
cool.
must like you. You got so much shit in this.
Well, this is like his climax of his point of the story. He's getting like the legendary gear. You know what I mean?
The Drake breath, I forget what it's called. It's probably called Drake's breath. That is also null and void for your character. Instead, you have the ability to unleash a 30-foot line of elemental devastation in fire, lightning, thunder, or force
Okay.
for 6d10 damage.
Oh shit! I'm very happy now.
Once per long rest, and it will increase as you grow. But the Drake's breath is gone. So it's what we had created for Theratrix separately, and then the World Dragon's breath.
Okay, so
Which is for you.
he still has his breath weapon attack.
He still has his thing.
But you're
It's-
saying that when I would get my
like
when the Drake Warden class gets their breath weapon attack, that is no.
that's gone.
Gotcha.
It's this instead.
Okay. Cool.
What kind of terrible stuff is she going to throw at us now that she gave you all of that? All those presents.
Yeah. Well, he did just accidentally cause like the ruin of a lot of people's lives and
I don't think it was accidental.
possibly an entire possibly
It was kind of intentional.
yeah. But you know, there's a lot of stuff that can possibly happen now, even like geopolitically.
Yes, indeed. As Zurich looks at you and says, "We must be the leaders of what is to come. This decision was made by the two of us. It was the right decision." He grabs your shoulder and shakes it.
It was the right one.
If there's one thing I've learned, it's that doing the right thing doesn't always feel as good as you want it to feel.
That is true. We must go. We can't linger here. We will need to assess the damage, speak with those above, and then we must head to Skyhome.
Let's go.
He jumps onto the back of Pyrathorin, who has to kind of dip down to maneuver their way up the tunnels. But as you are making your way back up, this group, like you kind of come together at the entrance of the tunnel, seeing Eldon and Theratrix, Zuruk and Pyrathorin actually come up behind Eldon and Theratrix as all of these folks, these keepers and liberators around you, are dealing with the emotion of no longer having their Drake with them, some of whom had been waiting for this and knew that it was a possibility. Others who, most likely the keepers, are not handling it in the same way.
You said some didn't handle it. Like, does that mean, like, maybe I'm looking too deep into this, like, some were waiting for it and like they feel sad, some had just been recently bonded, they feel like a more sense of loss? If they've had a Drake for decades, does the shock kill them? Are some of them dead?
The ones that you saw that are dead appear to be killed from the literal fighting that they were doing.
Okay. So no one necessarily dropped dead of
No.
sudden shock.
No. So you all like convene in this open area. What are your initial thoughts?
Eldon is visibly distraught at all the people around him being so affected by this.
How do you feel? Theratrix looks very big.
He's grown, and
No shit.
so have I. He just, with wide eyes, is looking still around at all the liberators and keepers alike.
What next?
Zaruk says that we need him and I are to lead in some capacity, and that we have to go to Skyhome.
To what? Finish the job?
Like, when you say that, when Ayla said that, Eldon, it looks like you punched him. Like, it, like, visibly. Like,
We're
he's
surrounded by weeping men and women, so it's like,
But
have we not done enough?
but Eldon looks like he was, like, his, like, soul was punched.
The fighting has stopped, but you see some of the keepers and liberators are like helping each other up. Others are, some are just crying and again, like patting the ground where their drakes once were. Zurich jumps off of Pyrothorin and heads over to a couple of his folks and to keepers as he goes and like lifting people up. You see him run over to Zerla, and he just like cradles her face in his hands for a moment and is like whispering something. He presses his forehead to hers. She grabs onto his wrist and just squeezes once, and you can see like they're speaking to each other, and she just nods, and then he lets her go and goes to another person. So he's kind of doing damage control throughout, and you can see Zerla in that moment takes a deep breath, and then she goes to do the same, running to whoever's closest, a keeper or liberator, doesn't matter.
Do you want to go to the bridge?
Yeah. He's trying not to make eye contact with the poor people that he just ripped out half their soul. He's gonna make his way. He just turns and walks away, like he's not saying anything else to anybody.
As you turn and head away, you do, like, at least one liberator looks to you as you head out and just says, thank you. Like, they are... This particular person, at least, is happy for the outcome.
Without looking, he'll do like the... and just keep moving.
You feel, as you all are following Eldon out, Iolite with the highest passive perception, as you're exiting, you look back and you see one person who looks down at their hands, and then you see like this crackling of energy that jumps lightning from one hand to another. They look a little bit shocked, but you don't have time to assess as you run out. You head in the direction where your parents were at the bridge. Running through the tunnels, you can see more people who have been hurt, others who are coming over to help, some who, the fighting between led to more people dying in these halls.
Yeah, Eldon's really more walking, almost like in a daze, like that shock he's seeing what he had done, for good or for bad.
Theratrix comes up underneath, scoops you up, and then starts going
Okay.
quickly underneath
There we
you.
go.
He does not. You. You can no longer feel his emotions.
He's a real
Is
boy
it because
now.
I don't feel him, or is like he's like that connection sense that we had is gone, or is it because he can block?
Like it's
feeling?
gone. In the emotional sense.
Okay.
Like he is now his own being, separate from you. You are still bonded, but not in the same ways that you were, because he is not a spirit anymore. Eye is twitching. See it? No? Okay, good. It's not twitching, it's fine.
Whenever I switch,
Now I'm gonna stare at you.
it feels way more visible than it actually
Yeah.
is.
Oh, it feels like half your face is like.
Oh yeah, you're just like,
So he bounds along. It's quite shocking for the rest of you seeing how large Theratrix has become.
How large is he now exactly?
He is what the mini looks like. He's
So-
considered a large creature. He's like
6 feet long or so.
Oh,
like-
bigger than
yeah,
bigger
I would
than
say
that.
like about 8 to 10, 8 feet
You see,
long.
A horse is large, right?
Yeah, he's about the size of a
Horsey
horse.
sized.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
a
not.
horse-
I'm not
he's
paying. I'm not paying the ticket on him.
like a
a
like a
long-necked
war
horse.
horse. size,
Can't
not-
hide him anymore.
Yeah, no, he's a dragon.
But everybody assumed he was mine, so I'm just saying, you're paying that ticket, not me.
You break through the tunnel entrance, and that leads out. Kind of not can't help but glance up to where Iara had been standing when you went in. She's not there. There you can see people crying here. The warden of pursuit is on this side as you come through, just kind of leaning up alive, but against the rocks, just sitting there almost in a daze. You can see that the fog has lessened in this area. All of you can see this. And looking around, I'll have you make a perception check to try to see what you can see.
It's 10.
Looking around on your side of the bridge, you can see various structures and people on the other side of the bridge, but you do not see your parents at this
They're going.
Okay.
It's going to be that like bounding. The wings fly out. And just right
Okay.
over.
What are the rest of you doing as all of this is happening?
We were.
You're with him, but like what
So
are you
he
doing?
just bounded away, though, right?
Across the bridge to the other side, where his parents had been.
Ayla, as we've been walking, she's been looking at faces we've recognized. We've been here, what, 2 days now? 2 days? 2 days?
2-3 days, yeah.
yeah. Just kind of like people in a trance, just kind of like seeing like how they respond and handing out like some like food rations to the faces that she recognizes, not to any of the
Keepers.
because I don't know those fucking people.
Okay.
Please here, have a candy bar.
Have a Snickers,
These
I might feel
trying
better.
What about Kethra?
Most likely she's just kind of looking around in shock that all happened, and then looking at all the people who lost their drakes and thinking of how sad it is, and she's like, I don't like emotions, I need to find a way out of this. She's really uncomfortable, but she's trying not to say anything.
Kai's just trying to take it all in, seeing all these people who were just fighting, feeling something much worse, and now they're almost like consoling each other as opposed to trying to kill each other in a matter of one moment to the next.
You hear, even as you walk through, there's one person who's just says like, he did it. They did it. They did it. And they're kind of like rocking slowly, not like, they did it, but like slowly back and forth, and just like smiling, but with tears running down their face. What about Iolite?
She is mostly concerned with Eldon and kind of seeing him looking the way he did. And she had kind of actually, I think, was going to move to kind of go next to him as he was walking away. She was kind of like aiming to catch up with him, and then like right as she did, like Theratrix kind of scooped him up, and so she's like trying to keep eyes on him and like follow them, although she can't quite keep up, I'm sure.
Yeah, he like bounds over the bridge as you are making your way across. It's a little bit more shaky. You land on the other side.
At least there's no
of...
pterodactyls this time, like flying at you.
Yeah, for now. You land on the other side. Looking around, you can see a couple of folks who didn't make it even across the bridge. And now with the mist cleared away, you catch sight of an unusual rock formation as you're looking around, almost like turn over one person. It's not.
Yeah, he's shouting for his mother.
Like screaming for your parents, and then you look and see this strange cone-like shaped rock formation in like the center of this space, and it hadn't been there. You looked past it at first because it tends to blend in terms of the color with the rock and the stone and the greenery, but here it stands out. And heading over to it, you notice that it almost appears, you kind of start making a perimeter scan, walking around this thing. It's probably like maybe 6 feet tall and ends at a point. And as you scan around, you notice that it looks like wings that have been wrapped around. There's no body attached, but more just wings that have embraced something. And as you step forward and put your hand on it, it crumbles, and underneath is your mother holding on to your father, and they're just hunkered down. As it crumbles down all around, they both look up and see you standing there, and they're completely unharmed.
He's just gonna collapse on top, like almost like his knees buckle, and he just sinks into and around them. Like, I imagine almost the way that like when a child does. Like, this is a very niche thing that you guys will understand, but like when your child hugs you and they're small and they barely make it around you, and then one day they're so much bigger, and then they go to give you a hug, and it's like, how are your arms touching around me? You know what I mean? Like, that's like that feeling, that sensation of, you know, he just collapses and just is hugging them both, even the dick father.
Oh yeah. And who hugs you back? They're both hugging, and
You're still a dumbass, boy.
He is Red Foreman. He
I was
really
gonna
is.
say, I feel like your dad's Red Foreman.
Foot off in your ass.
Donla is just like, Ellie, I'm so glad you're okay. I'm so glad. It wasn't something just wrapped around us. It came out of nowhere as the rocks were crumbling. We were okay.
It was Vasconveterix. I know it. He protected you.
He protected you too.
He did.
Are you okay? She reaches up and again, like cradles your face. Are you hurt anywhere?
She would, when she looks in his, like, he's physically fine, but his eyes definitely have like that hollow, like shock, like, you know.
Yeah. She just kind of like grabs your head and pulls it in that embrace that moms do when they want to protect you from the world. And she just holds on. And she's like, it's okay. It's okay. You made a choice, and we'll move beyond it. After anything Iolite's doing as you get across the bridge and he is embracing his family.
I think she kind of stops and just lets that happen.
Theratrix comes over to you, Iolite, and just stands. He can no longer really wrap around without it being an intimidating gesture at this point, but he just kind of stands, and his head is in line with your head when he's kind of dipping down now.
She's kind of doing that, like, I don't know, like sometimes someone will do like a horse, where you're kind of like, their head is here and you sort of like pet them. She's like doing that to him.
And Iolite would notice the heaviness of his head where even when he was small and he would just like run across shoulders and you could barely feel him. There was nothing there. And as he got older, even when he was, 4 or 5 feet long but slender, he didn't weigh anything. He now weighs.
He's got like a heft to
There
him.
is a creature beside you now, as opposed to a spirit.
Would I notice them?
Oh yeah, as time goes on and the hug is ends.
Is Eldon's gonna do that like awkward half turn and notice them? He's be like, mother, father, I'd like to, and he's gonna like hold his hand out like to try to get both of you guys to come over. This is gonna be a real awkward situation.
Theatrix leads over.
I want to introduce you to, this is Theratrix.
Then Donna is like, "Oh, Theatrix."
and then he's actually going to reach behind and take Iolite's hand and like almost like pull her in front. And this is Iolite. She's a friend. He cringes when he says that. Like his lips do a funny thing where he's like, yeah, because he doesn't know what it is. You know what I mean? He has no clue. This is going to be a real conversation. Like, so what are we?
So I met your parents.
so you-
That must
What
mean
is
we're
this? You introduced
something.
me to your parents.
Look, I brought you to my mother, okay? What are we?
Donna leans forward and gives you a hug, Iolite, and she says, It's wonderful to meet you. I only know very little about the group that Ellie's been traveling with, but you've kept him safe. Branson just kind of like pats you on the shoulder.
Put her there, pal.
Nice to meet you.
What are your intentions with my son?
Got a good handshake on you, stone girl.
As the rest of you come over to this
I was
little
gonna say,
group
like,
and
slowly like, pan over the shoulder.
You
and
just realize.
the rest of us just kind of like
Arms crossed.
get the intro to the parents.
He's just like, yeah, that's Kai and Kethra and Ayla.
we're
other
the woven
ones.
face.
Or be like, oh, we're red tied.
He would, once that was, out of,
Yeah.
like, he would introduce everybody else, of course. Like, that's Kai and Kethra and the red one's Ayla.
Donla is full of hugs for whoever will take it. And thank yous for the
Kethra takes a
protection of
step
her
back when the hugs start happening.
son. She just like
Mom
touches your
hugs?
elbow.
And she goes,
Eldon, like, throws one of those looks. He's like, I understand. He's like, I get it. It's okay, Kethra.
You see the some of the liberators and keepers that had been inside are coming out and like gathering people, bringing everyone back inside, and kind of take that as a cue that everyone is gathering inside of the Molten Roost again. You can see everyone is gathering there. People are kind of like dragging over the bodies of those that didn't make it. There's a little bit. Some people are still just straight up crying. There's some that have not gotten over the shock, but it seems to be mostly the keepers who have. Someone has picked up the warden of pursuit and brought him in along with everybody else. And you can see Zuruk as Eldon, as you come in, he gestures for you to come up to just the area he's standing in, which is giving people a better sight onto him and Pyrethorn, who still takes up most of the space.
He's going to squeeze the hand of his mother and then Iolite. Like, I imagine that they're kind of just all walking in a group, and he's just going to reach down and, like, squeeze his mother's hand, and then on the other side squeeze Iolite's. And then he's going to throw a little bit of side eye at that warden of pursuit that tried to put an arrow into his fucking forehead. And he'll go up on the dais? What's that word?
Deus?
Deus. It's one of those words that I've read, but like I don't think I've ever actually
Hear out
used.
loud.
Yeah. Zuruk looks out across everybody, and he begins to do like one of his speeches that he's so good at doing.
My brothers and sisters in scale.
He says, my siblings, my kin, We have borne witness to something the world has not seen since the first scales kissed the stars. Vascan Veterix has returned, not in wrath, not in vengeance, but in ascension, in truth. And with that truth came sacrifice. I know what has been lost. I feel it too. When he says this, he kind of like reaches up to Pyrathorin, who dips his head down, and again, that cradling, except his head is huge next to Zuruk. But you know,
Ford F-150.
you know, Eldon, that he must be referring to if you've lost your connection emotionally with Theratrix. He has been waiting for the second eye for over 100 years, and in that time would have been bonded with Pyrathorin very deeply. And so it is quite likely that his connection has also been severed in that way. The emptiness where your Drake's bond once sang, that silence is louder than thunder. It is not weakness to grieve. It is love laid bare. But I tell you this, not as a voice of the world dragon, but as one who has lived long and waited longer. Your Drake is not gone. Look inward, not just into your heart, but into the weave that winds through your bones. Something remains. You can see at this point, he just kind of like passes a hand over his chest. Vascan Veterix did not take your companions. He honored them. In their final flight, they did not fall. They became part of something greater. And in return, they left something behind. A gift, a spark, a memory of flame or wind or storm. You carry them still. And as he says this, you can kind of feel almost like this very subtle swell of like realization, a flicker of realization across the room. And all of these very small surges of power, you start to see like someone breathes a little bit and like cold air comes out of someone's mouth, and another person, like that electricity moves from one hand to another. Another person, you can see other people like move away from them as like heat is radiating off of their body. And there's something that is like awakening among all of the Drake Wardens specifically. Anybody who didn't have a Drake, because there were some folks who didn't in this group. Not everybody here with the Liberators. And your parents like are standing there looking around as people are almost realizing that something has changed, or they have been left with something, a part of the Drake that they once had. We do not mourn in darkness. We rise in light, for today we begin again, not just as liberators or keepers, but as those who remember. Eldon and I stand before you not as masters, but as voices of the world dragon, chosen not to command, but to speak the truth, to speak with unity, and to speak to those who still sit in towers and temples, unknowing of what has awakened. We will travel to Skyhome, to Rilsk, not with threats, not with war, but with words, with witness. We will show them what was hidden, what was denied, and we will lead with the values that made us what we are. Strength without cruelty, justice without silence, and loyalty without chains. You are not less without your Drake. You are more. Because now you carry not one bond, but all of us. Every Drake that rose, every Warden who chose. You are the living legacy of the Ur-Dragon, and the world will hear your voice. He steps back. No pressure on Eldon, but just steps back.
You just became a cleric, son. Get up there.
Eldon doesn't have words at the moment.
He, you see some of the liberators come up to both of you, and, you know, the next several hours are people thanking you, mostly liberators, you all helping to gather things. It is a unique feeling. There's like tense moments of keepers who are upset, but there's enough liberators around to just kind of subdue the anger. You have to help gather the people that didn't make it, one of which is the lore keeper here, Sarasha, who you find was an unlucky recipient of an arrow or two.
Oh. I kind of liked her.
It becomes clear that at least for today, it is a cleaning up situation, with Zuruk letting you know that it will be probably a day's flight. Pyrathorin can carry everybody else, and you can ride on Theratrix. But to, like, because you have to rest. Pyrathorin and Theratrix, now being true dragons, have to rest. But he says, you know, not taking off until the next day. The thought is that you need to get to Skyhome, because every day that passes, there are questions. The masters are going to be there without their drakes. The keepers that were there, no drakes. The crown is probably going to be asking questions. There's like a lot that is going to happen, and while you can't just arrive there overnight, getting there is going to be a top priority. So, anything that you want to do before you head out the following day?
Eldon's going to spend time when the sun's set. He'll find a spot up high where he can, like, sit on a cliff and just kind of stare at the stars with his legs, like, dangling, just sitting, thinking. That's a book.
Anything else anybody is going to do?
I think Iolite might try to go find him if he's doing that. Like, I think after all of the stuff that's happened, she's gonna try to, like, just to get to like, check in with him. I don't know if he would be, like, hard to find, but...
He's not hiding, you just...
Yeah. He'd be easy enough to find. I'm sure people would be checking in to see where he is, and it's kind of a big deal.
Actually, he didn't run away. He's kind of a big deal.
He's kind of a big deal in these parts.
He's just Jesus number 2.
Young Jesus.
She'll kind of come up behind him and clear her throat, like, hey.
Close his book.
Sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting your reading.
No. Never.
I just pictured like a sketch of like a stick figure with really big boobs.
He's drawing it.
Oh, no.
It says rock-like skin with a little arrow pointing.
It's just hearts with it. It says an Iolite spelt wrong. The
like a
E's
little
backwards.
The leg.
boobs.
Sorry, I ruined it. That's on me.
Usually that's on me.
It's never an interruption. Come. Sit. Can we see the stars? I said I was going to go look at them, but I don't know if you felt like you had to roll the weather dice.
No. I would say, given the dramatic occurrence earlier that day, that any like cloud cover or anything was chased away by all that.
It's a fine sky tonight. It's like it's like a blanket of stars.
Yeah, she'll sit next to him. Yeah. Beautiful view.
How's everyone inside? How's the group doing?
I think you can probably guess. They're doing all right. How are you doing?
I don't know.
That's okay.
I'm happy and very sad.
She'll take his hand. That makes sense.
Zaruk's words, it's not that they're wrong. He's very wise, but doing what we did, what I helped do, all those people, it's hard to describe when you're bonded that way. It's like what I felt with Theratrix and what they feel with their drakes. It's... Well, and he's going to reach over and he's going to touch where your shard is. It would be like if I just reached into you and just took that. It's part of you. It's part of who you are. Your drake is your... It's half of you. It's half of your heart, of your soul. And, like it or not, whatever the reason, I took that from them. And I said to Zaruk earlier that it just sucks that doing the right thing doesn't always feel as good as you would hope that it would.
Yeah. The right thing can still cause a lot of pain and suffering and still be the right thing.
So I've learned. He also said something about that he and I would have to lead these people. And I don't know what that quite means.
Yeah. Are you going to ask him?
It'll come up. He's gonna put his head like kind of... I know he's taller than you, but he's gonna put like his head on her shoulder and he's trying not to actually cry is what he's trying not to do, because he's feeling what he had done that day.
Let it out.
So he's very torn.
Well, you did good. Even if it doesn't feel like it.
That makes Eldon laugh. You feel him laughing. I wish you could have seen it. It's breathtaking how beautiful it was. The colors, the shape, the size. His wings were... He covered the entire horizon. But that also terrifies me. I don't know what the future brings. Him being free and having a score to settle, I suppose, with the Woven Sons.
Guess we'll find out. And she kind of like she leans away from him so that he has to like look at her. And she's gonna put her hand on his cheek and kiss him.
He kisses back. I'm not going to describe how he does it.
He leans over and throws up.
Please don't make him roll for a performance because he will fail that.
Roll a charisma check.
Oh, he'll fail
See how
both.
smooth
Those are
that
dump.
is.
Those are dump stats.
Oh, that all I heard was those are fun stats. Dumb stats, fun stats, my friend.
It's just a quick little soft kind of.
No tongue.
He's going to put his hand back on her cheek and he's going to kiss her a second time. He'll initiate the second one. So.
And that's where we will take a break.
Fade to black. That means bow, bow, wow.
At least she's like, well, I met his parents. I guess
This
is like a thing.
I guess
now.
we're official now.
We rejoin you in the Molten Roost next day. Zuruk is going to recommend that you get started as early as possible on your trek to Skyhome. Eldon and Zuruk are the only ones with dragons or drake-type creatures now. And your parents need to somehow get to Skyhome as well.
They can catch the next train.
So there are options. The Warden of Pursuit can, and the Keepers, I would say, generally are happy enough to start making their way, but it's going to be a much longer trek for them. They're going to head to the Coal Spire, actually, which is very close. So that's their goal.
You know what you do? You take your mom, you make your dad walk. He was okay with you eating an arrow.
Fair point.
So you all get loaded onto the back of Pyrathorin along with Zuruk, except for Eldon, who can be with Theratrix.
Is the Warden of Pursuit throwing me any kind of shade whatsoever after trying to JFK my ass?
The Warden seems particularly impacted by the loss of his Drake. So, but all of the Keepers and the Liberators are dealing with this in their own ways. There's definitely side eyes that are given from Keepers. But there's also a kind of a resignation. This isn't a thing that can be taken back. This isn't something that goes back in the bottle. It has occurred. There is no backtracking or fixing it or or even steps that could be taken to try to get things back the way that they were. So, if anything, as keepers are wont to do, they need to see what their leadership is going to command. You do see over the course of that night and into the morning, those that stay up and stay awake after there are ceremonies done to bury the dead, or get prepared, the keepers' bodies who are going to go back to the various towers or homes where they belong. People are practicing whatever new powers they appear to have gotten. Any Dragonborn already had breath weapons that were built into themselves, but they did end up with additional. Whatever their Drake was summoned as when it moved away from them, that was the power that they were left with in some manifestation. So some people have the ability to do a breath weapon that couldn't before. Other people have magic coming from their hands or emanating from their whole bodies, or there's some kind of something that they have learned or has been left behind from the Drake that they had and how they had them summoned. So you can see keepers kind of testing out their new abilities. Maybe one or two of them does it and then looks over at you with a, we'll see what the decision is when I'm
I just
giving
wanted
my
to make
new
sure that I
orders.
wasn't going to turn my back and the Warden of Pursuit was going to
Oh no.
just
Just
No.
give their tricks that extra, how you do on a horse, the head rub thing just right in front of them.
Yeah. So mean. Oh, I love having a dragon.
So Ayla would do.
Yeah, it's kind of once you have been given an order, the order did not work out the way that it should have. You need to wait for if that's the type of person that you are, if you're a soldier, you're supposed to wait for the next order, and they don't have that right now. So
It's just business.
yeah, what they were trying to stop you from doing has occurred. So now what? So you take off into the sky. Zuruk is happy enough to share Pyrathorin. It's a loud ride. It is not quiet. You are up in the sky. It's chilly. Isla's fine. She's got her clothes. But
I love that you're protected by heat and cold.
Any
'cause of your,
any environment, the cloak makes it comfortable.
Nice.
it's well, I guess I will leave it to. Let's go around and say how everybody feels being up in the sky. This would be the first time this high up. I'm having bleed from the other campaign, but
Well, we also rode on the back of a dragon for miles
yes,
and
you
miles.
did.
It
And
is
fought
Dungeons
as
and
well.
Dragons.
How's Ayla feeling?
She's fucking elated. She's on the back of a fucking dragon. She's just
Are you the first behind
she's-
Zuruk with your
oh, if that's an option, she absolutely is.
because you were hitting on him last session.
She was throwing some eyelashes.
That's a phrase.
What is it? What's the
I don't know, batting your
batting eyelashes? I don't know.
There's about a dozen. There's
Those falsies right
there
now.
was
Yeah.
about a dozen ways you could have made that into a phrase, and it just
Yeah.
Only works if it's a strip lash, though.
Oh.
Individuals. Shock a strip lash.
It's just sticking to the back of his shoulder blade.
She just magically resummons them, so it's like a bunch of caterpillars on his back.
Cantrip of summoning your strip lashes.
It's fifth level.
Fifth level invocation. She is fucking elated. She is
Okay.
flying and enjoying it. So she's got a big, sharp, toothy grin going, looking back and forth.
All right. How's Iolite feeling?
She is feeling really positive after getting to do some kissing last night. So she's,
I got to do some kissing.
she's just flying and feeling really great about it.
How's
Perfect music for it.
There's a TH.
It's
I
close
can
enough.
never get Kethra for some reason. How's Kethra feeling?
She's just enjoying the ride, but also having to talk Nyx off a ledge because he's kind of pissed about being this high off the ground.
Claws in the
He's
bag.
in my bag going, when is this fucking over? When is it over? I hate this. Nyx, calm down. Is it over? Are we there yet? Every 3 minutes, every couple minutes, are we there yet from Nyx?
Poor Nick says
So
at least
as-
24 more hours.
As the ride goes on, you see her just looking more and more irritated by the, are we there yet?
Pestering.
What does Nick's voice sound like to Kethra? Please say Gilbert Gottfried.
I was thinking more like Vin Rames. I went to the complete opposite side of the scale.
Honestly, I have him as like a very effeminate, like gay male voice. Like, bitch, no. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Like that's Nyx for me for some reason.
Has anyone ever seen Zack and Miri make a porno?
Long time
A
ago.
long time ago, yeah.
You don't remember Justin Long when he was the guy at the... He played Brandon St. Randy?
No.
This is a reference for
this-
one person who's going to watch this like 5 years
I've
from now.
only seen that movie once
And
when
I'm
it like
telling
came
you that
out.
is going to fucking kill. That reference is gonna
Whoever gets
absolutely
it, that's
kill.
gonna take them out.
Love it.
I'm going to have to send that in the Discord later.
I was
'Cause
thinking
that's who you'll get it. And you'll go, oh shit. Yeah.
when she said that, I was just thinking Titus Andromedon from
Unbreakable
Kimmy
Kimmy
Schmidt.
Yeah. What about Kai?
As they're ascending, he's just gonna look and see how like high up they are, and it's gonna remind him of looking out at home from the palace, way up high, seeing things smaller, and just reminding him.
You can see all the
of-
little people below you.
just reminding him of how even the castle would look small from how high up they are.
Indeed. Pyrothorin and Theratrix kind of do a wide loop around, and Eldon, you get a view to the south. It's really difficult to see, but the dragon's womb was part of a very large mountain formation, and that you can see has crumbled. There is nothing but a scar there now, but you're too far away for you to get any real detail, just that peak is no longer there.
He's trying not to let that get him. He's very excited. This is what him and Theratrix have been waiting for since he came out of his little stone egg, this moment. And he's trying not to let that view behind him get him down.
Yes.
He's also riding high from last night. In my head, I see him and Theratrix. Like, you've got Pyrothorn, who just kind of with everybody, like, just like the big, like, not lazy, but just the
Yeah.
like carrying all these people. And then you have Eldon and Theratrix, who are like a kid and puppy.
Yeah.
Are like they're like diving down close, and they're going in the canyons, and then he'll like flare out his wings and stop them. You know what I mean? And then like loop around Pyrothorn. We're like, you know,
Cue the How to Train Your Dragon music.
weirdly, I've never actually seen that movie. No,
Those movies are good movies. That is
heard
a
it's good.
very good trilogy.
man, why'd you do this to me?
I've already eaten 6 since we come back.
It's in those mints, man.
You can't see Skyhome from where you're at, but I would say about like halfway through this first day's trip, which you do have to stop now because, well, you have to stop. Regardless, you can't hang on to a dragon while you guys have to sleep. But about halfway through the first day, you do pass by Coalspire, which is on the west side. You're headed northeast. North, mostly, slightly east, towards Skyhome. But you all get a view of Coalspire to the left, your left view. And it is pulling up Coalspire. It is a blackened tower that made of stone, Eldon could share with you, like as you hover closer to everyone, that this particular tower had been struck by lightning a long time ago and had caught fire, and that's why the stone is permanently blackened. Nobody knows what it was called before, but it is located at a, not quite a crossroads, but if you go further to the west, you end up at Talon's Gate. If you go to the east or southeast, you end up at the Hole, and then if you can continue on, you end up towards the Womb.
Well, no one would stop at the hole, huh? Nobody wants to go to the hole.
I got no control over this plane.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I have some really dirty things to say. I'm not going to say it.
Can we fly over the
I'll
hole
explain
and
what
start
it was
dropping
after. It was
stuff
actually
in?
a fun little thing, but
My mind
no,
went right in the fucking
it sounds
gutter.
gross. I know it does, but that's because it was named by teenagers.
As soon
So-
as you said you're like, no one's going to go in the hole, and I was like,
Nobody wants to dive into the hole.
Die?
It's wet down there. It's wet and warm, I promise.
Stop tempting me.
There's no time. We're on a mission.
There's no time.
Sometime for the whole.
Eyes on the prize. Can't get distracted by hole. The hole.
I'm so proud of
I
myself.
fucked that up and made it. I fucked it up and made it way worse when I didn't drop the from that sentence.
For the first night, or the interim night, you will arrive at the Sky Home the next day, late in the day. You land in the forest, an area that is more protected so that you can have a comfortable camp. Is there anything that you want to do to prepare for arriving at Sky Home? And you level up. Leveled up.
Again? Level 10?
All right, hey.
Just one journey of
Level 9.
Riding a dragon's a milestone.
How many days by foot would this have been to our final destination?
It's a very big
many.
mountain.
One,
big mountain pass.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably at least 10.
Wow.
But you're going above, and you're not going through mountain range. 10 to probably 12 to 14 days. Yeah, to get all the way where you're trying to go.
Some fast travel shit.
And
Full
if you,
spires,
and that's
like,
if you
2,
know the
3 days.
mountains.
Yeah.
You know the mountains, sort of. I mean, we took a lot of damage following you through the mountains, but
That's how dangerous they are.
That night, you, Iolite, would receive a message on the sending stone. And it's actually Yuri's voice that comes through. Which is, it takes you a moment to recognize. But Yuri pops in and says, "Hey, so don't know what happened, but I hope you're all okay. We're fine. Lots of rumbling. We're in the city." Leaves it at that. ...
Question mark.
Just resurrecting ancient dragons, we'll invade things.
P.S. Desi's kissing sense went off.
Desi had a dream. He won't stop
It would have been
talking about it.
terrible if they were kissing and then she got the message.
It was just Desi, you up?
Hey.
Hey, what's going on?
Any response?
When he says we're in the city, do I know what city that is?
They would have been
Inherently?
Rilsk, like the capital
Rilsk,
city
okay.
of Emporia.
Hey,
Hey, girl. Hey.
what's up? Resurrected ancient dragon, but all good. Miss you guys. Is everyone okay? Tell Desi I say hi.
Okay, bye.
Okay. You know that you can probably get a response in the morning, but this evening.
That all happens mentally, right?
But
No, it's out loud for the sending stone.
Oh, okay.
Now switch over to their camp when they hear Resurrected Ancient Dragon and play that out.
You are all together around your camp this evening as Zuruk comes over and sits down next to you, Eldon. I mean, really all of you at this point. And says, I don't know what is going to await us at Skyhome, but it's important that we remain united. They will not have their drakes. I would argue they will not have a purpose. We should determine the purpose going forward.
Well, they're still easily the most knowledgeable people about these mountains. I would say that they still should hold all the passes and do what they've been doing all this time. Might be a little bit more difficult without being able to fly on drakes, but
I agree.
Perhaps this is a dumb question, but considering what has happened, do you think we will land with open arms and everything will be fine there? You do not think they will try to retaliate for what has been taken from them?
it's a possibility. But there's no going back from here.
It's not necessarily a matter of going back, it's... people can be petty.
It's true. But they'll be looking for a purpose, like Zurich said. And as the... It's gonna inwardly cringe when he says this. One of the voices of the Ur-Dragon, that should hold some weight.
It will. We were the chosen ones. We fulfilled the destiny of releasing Vascan Veterix to his rightful place.
But that is not what they wanted.
It is not. But what they wanted is irrelevant.
What's done is done.
What's done is done.
True. But it may not be irrelevant to them. I'm just saying, perhaps we should land with some offensive ideas at the ready.
Zurich looks up at Pyrathorin, who is off to the side, sitting, and he says, I would not worry too much. Of course it will be shocking for us to arrive. However, this happened exactly when it was meant to happen. Pyrathorin is a magnificent dragon. You hear Pyrathorin go, thank you.
It's the first time he talks!
Is that the first time he's talked?
Yeah, I don't think he's actually said anything this entire
He
time.
speaks.
Out loud. Yeah, baby!
Aw, shit.
You feel the rumble when Pyrathorin speaks. They will have to listen to us. I would argue we have achieved something that none thought possible. We demand respect. Our mere presence demands respect. They cannot deny that we achieved this. And should they try, I'll fly directly over their heads and straight into the city. Speak with those who matter.
All right. She says, not knowing the geopolitical meaning of any of that.
Basically, it will either be all right or it won't.
As is life.
I have no intention of declaring war on the royal family, the keepers. I don't believe it will come to that. But there will be an expectation of leadership from the voices of the world dragon.
About that. With being one of these new voices of the Ur-Dragon, my place for now, there's more still to be done. I am needed with them. As world-changing as the event that just took place yesterday, there's still more. Much more.
I understand. Well, he smiles. I am no stranger to being the voice, even before I received the official title. I can speak for us both.
You won't speak alone forever. I'll be back. Just for the foreseeable future, we call ourselves the Woven Fates for a reason.
Well, let's make sure it's not forever. I have a feeling that my time here is short, after having been here so long. My first order of business will be to attend to the womb. It is likely that there were individuals within when it collapsed. We will go find them. Anywhere where rumbling may have loosened stone and trapped anyone within the mountain of Vascan Veterix, we will rescue them.
When we were flying over this, when the womb became a scar, was it across the entire? Was it just that one mountain, or was it like across? That's the best way to put it.
The mountain
Did it create like a
range
pass?
changed.
Did it like create like almost like like a new pass?
No,
Like a
it
valley,
was.
or is it just the one mountain that kind of collapsed in?
It
on
was
itself?
the mountain that collapsed in. Yeah. All right. With that, another night ends. Another day begins. You head back into the sky and eventually can see Skyhome off in the distance as you are flying.
I love this music.
What does Skyhome look like as you all approach, and how does Eldon feel when he sees it?
Skyhome is a series of towers that are literally carved into and built out of like almost like sheer cliff faces in mountains. It's also on top of the mountain. So the way it would look is like the mountains were excavated, and then whatever stone was taken was used to carved into blocks, and you son of a bitch, small moments, and it was used to build the towers in like on top. On top of the mountain, there's the main, I suppose you could call it, spire or building. It's tall, and as you get up to the top, it almost looks like there's something else built on top of it. And so you have Skyhome, and then you have the nest. The nest is on top where all the younglings, I suppose you would call them, stay. All the initiates.
So that's part of the tower, or is the nest built into rock?
So you have your mountain, and then you have like spires that are coming off of it. Then you have the main portion of the citadel, I guess you could call it, and then on top of that is the nest.
Does it look like a nest?
Sure, does now. Made out of sticks. Sticks and hay, and little bits
Stone
of shiny
sticks.
things, and whatever crows brought. Eldon is almost struck with awe at looking at it because it's very impressive and almost like it's very strange looking, kind of, I suppose. He's never seen it from this angle ever, obviously, from this height. And it's just a very odd, it's a feeling of returning home, I suppose, even if it's a home that you, like the Molten Roost felt like home in a sense because it was like happy. This feels like going to your childhood home that has almost bad memories.
Yeah.
That you're just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to. It also looks smaller to him now, somehow. What used to be so grand and huge, and still would be to everybody else, to him seems much smaller. Probably because he's seen the world and other things. I'd liken it to going back to your childhood home and remembering how long the path was from like the fence to the front door. And then you go there again as an adult, and you're like,
It's 3 steps.
yeah, it's like right there. It's like 6 steps. It's that general feel.
Eldon looks back at Pyrathorin and the whole group, and Zurich is right there at the head, right just at the shoulders of Pyrathorin, and he, as you're flapping through in the wind going by, you can see like tear streaks going back on his face, like away from his eyes. And when you turn to look at him, he has a big smile on his face, and he just looks at you, Eldon, and then nods, and then yells out. You barely catch it, but he says, "She's beautiful, isn't she?" And
Yeah.
and then Pyrathorin like swerved off to the side. You follow suit with Theratrix, intentionally making rounds in a way where the keeper masters can see, and you do see a bunch of keepers and keeper masters kind of run out to what would be an area that is like a landing, not strip necessarily, but a landing ledges for those who did have drakes that had wings. Very few, but the Pyrathorin lands, touches down. There's this heavy thud as he hits down on the stone ledge that is jutting out in front of a group of keepers. Most notably, there is a clear leader of this group, a dragonborn, who is gold-scaled, shimmering molten gold eyes, carrying this staff that is clearly carved from either a dragon or a drake something. And you recognize the Grandmaster, Zarinth Vasir, a dragonborn, the top of the leader of, or the ladder of leaders, I guess, of the masters. Next to or behind him is the Master of Defense, the Master of Lore, Calith Drenvor, is there. Another Dragonborn. Master of Defense is also...
My Drake disappeared, and my books disappeared. This guy's like stuffing pages into his shirt.
Quick, throw them in the closet.
And then Master Cora Solvane, the halfling who, from your one memory when you and Master Andrax were talking and she knocked on the door, she's there. That's the Master of Training. And then the Master of Oath, Master Tarshek. Vorin, another Dragonborn. You don't need to know all of these. I'm just laying out that there are a bunch of
There'll be a
masters
quiz.
here.
Too late. She wrote down all the names.
There'll be a quiz later on.
The majority of which are Dragonborn. It's very, very clear this. And then you see a couple, or a couple of handfuls of keepers of various stages, nestlings and fledglings and whatnot. As you land, Zurich looks back at all of you who are on Pyrathorin and says, "Here we go." And then he
Get
hops off
out.
with a thud. What is Eldon doing?
He's gonna land. So if Pyrathorin's really big and he's in front, they're gonna land like right in front, I suppose.
Okay.
he'll slide off Theratrix and he'll do the same thing he used to when Theratrix was so small on his shoulder. He'll take his hands and he'll touch his forehead to his. And then he will turn and he will face the Master and Grandmasters of the Keepers.
Okay. The Grandmaster and the Masters, when more specifically Cora sees you, she gets a very stern look on her face. The Grandmaster wouldn't necessarily know who you are, but Cora would. A couple of the other Masters might have, seen you, but you weren't meant to be much of anything.
That was a nobody.
So Cora knows you because she would obviously have spoken to Master Andrax multiple times and seen the amount of time that he was spending. And her as the Master of Training, I'm sure that there were conversations between them about making sure that you continue to get training, even though that round table would be saying why. What's interesting to you all as Zurich waits for Eldon to catch up and you both approach together. Zurich has that smile and the Grandmaster Zarinth looks very stern. Beautiful in the gold shimmering scales, but very stern as he approaches. And they kind of stare at each other for a moment with those two looks, a smile. Zurich gives a very slight bow to the Grandmaster, who does not return it. And then the Grandmaster looks at you. You've never... you might have seen this person from far away, but he's never engaged with you before. I can only imagine that your presence here signifies you are responsible for this. And Zurich looks to you, Eldon, and then back to the Grandmaster, and says, "You know we are responsible. We have met numerous times, Vasir, and I told you this would happen. I told you to prepare." It's almost as if the Grandmaster, having been known for being a leader, and in this moment, though, they have also lost their Drake. And so he seems like, under any other circumstances, even if you had been named the voice of the World Dragon, standing before this person would be something strong, like a strong presence of this individual, but he seems so slight now. All of the Masters do. All of these people who you used to look up to, and they, yelling orders or slapping on the wrist when you get a question wrong during studies or pushing you further along, and now they're just not whole anymore. I will say there's a little bit of back and forth between the Grandmaster and Zurich as they kind of recount old discussions. It's clear that Zurich has been here. When you sit and listen to them go back and forth, you don't know how old Zarinth Vasir is, but Zurich has had discussions with this person. He has been here to Skyhome, and you never knew about it. While they're going back and forth, you see Cora, Master Cora, comes over or steps around and approaches you, looking up at you. And she also looks a little broken. It's like she hasn't slept since whatever happened. And she takes your hand and she says, "I'm so sorry. Master Andrax, he was your greatest champion, and I should have listened. I assume this was you. You both.
I was one half.
The second eye.
Seems like everybody knows what that was except for me. He's gonna like half smile.
She does not smile in return, half or no. She just looks down, looks back to the rest of your group here, looks up at Pyrothorin, just kind of taking everything in.
Will we find safety here?
I don't know what you'll find here. A lot of half-broken Drake wardens. Wardens now. Wardens of what? I don't know.
Still wardens of protectors. You're still protectors. And you will find new power. Where's Master Andrex?
When you say his name, she lets go of your hand and looks down. I can bring you to him. You hear Zuruk and the Grandmaster kind of like exchanging plans of going to find out what happened at the womb. You can tell that there's just a lot of power that has been stripped away from these people. As you begin to head into Skyhome, the rest of you, are you following?
Got nothing else to do here.
All right, you follow.
I don't think we let Eldon out of our sight, literally in the home base of...
They love me. They really love me.
You, Kai, notice a double take from Master Calith Drenvor.
I smell my books.
The Master of Lore. Another Dragonborn. This one is silver scaled with these ice blue eyes. Carrying a scroll that he's probably mid-reading. But as you walk by, there isn't a...
Vamp that for a second.
There isn't a... no words come from him. He just, as you walk by, looks, and then there's a look again. Eyes narrow slightly, but it's not quite clear if there's a full recognition.
Kai will put his sunglasses on.
Every master we pass, Ayla's like, hello. Hi. Like, just greeting all of them very excitedly.
Zuruk, as you all pass, just kind of like nods to you all and almost like I've got this kind of thing. As you all head into
I
Skyhome.
picture him and the Grandmaster like Professor X and Magneto when they're just casually playing chess.
In a sense, there is, even as you watch their body language, you can tell that there is like this give and take of, you know, the Grandmaster must have had a very powerful Drake with him, and that is no longer the case, and has been used to having power generally in this space, and now a dragon and a dragon rider have landed on Skyhome and are kind of like taking that power away, and there's really not anything that he can do about it except could call the, you know, authorities, the Adar, and say, these guys just arrived and come take them away, whatever. But, like, what would be the goal of that? With Vescan Veterix having ascended and you saw it and you know it, would you be angering this god that now has, like, risen and you don't know what's going to happen from that?
We were in the cavern.
Anybody who would have
right?
been outside.
Okay,
would
so
have
everybody was outside would have saw it.
Oh,
We
yes.
did not actually see that
You
happen.
did not see it. All of the people inside didn't see it, but because the Liberators and Keepers physically watched their drakes dissolve into these motes of light that left them, they know what happened. They can feel what happened.
Like the idea that there's like one guy out in the mountains besides Zorak and Eldon. Like, guy was just like hiking.
Yeah.
He was just like a mountain climber and just saw the spectral dragon.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck.
And that would have been seen over the mountain range for like miles and miles. I'm assuming, right?
Yes. The mountain range, the hills, probably out in the ocean. I mean, there would have been people who saw.
Did the sky go dark when they summoned the dragon in Dragon Ball?
No, it didn't go dark. It
Okay.
got light. Like, it was lights that went off. So Cora walks you all through. The sky home is like a shell of, in terms of the number of people that are there. It's she explains as you walk. When their drakes left, many of the keepers in the morning left as well. Many of the young folks, they were unclear about what their purpose was, and it caused a little crisis internally for several of them, and we hope that they will return, but without a drake, what is a keeper? You can come this way. He's resting.
Is he all right?
No.
He just has to walk a little bit faster.
She leads you to what you know to be like Master Andrax's quarters. You go in there and can see that the Master Seisha, who is the Master of Mercy, who oversees all of the healing and mediation, she had been in Dahim when you were there, but she is here now.
Question. Theratrix can fit through everything that we're...
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
with us.
Yeah,
Just want to make
Theratrix
sure he
is with
wasn't outside still.
Yeah, no, he's with you. So Seisha, who is a human, she has this dark brown skin, short silver gray hair, this very serene expression that she kind of always has. Walks with like a very slight stoop. She stands up when you all enter and is visibly shocked to see you, Eldon. But you can see that she's standing next to Master Andrax's bed and he's in it. Cora steps over to Seisha and says, Eldon has returned. The voice of the world dragon, so it seems one of them. He wants to speak to Master Andrax. And Seisha says, of course, yes. We will leave you to it. And she and Cora like touches your arm again, reaches up, touches your arm gently, and walks out, leaving all of you in there with Eldon. You walk up to Master Andrax. He looks like a withering version of himself. It is clear that probably a combination of being kept in wherever it was they were keeping him for the months that he was there, plus the loss of his drake has taken a toll. But when you step up to him, you can like hear the breathing, that like ragged breathing. He was already he had seen a lot in his life, and so you come over and he very weakly just like reaches a hand up and is smiling at you with his one good eye.
He's gonna go to a knee by the bed and like take his hand.
And he doesn't say anything. He's just looking at you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was gone for so long.
You don't need to be sorry.
He's gonna look over his shoulder at Theratrix and then back to Master Andrax. I did it.
I know. You can tell, like, he kind of strains his head a little bit and, like, squints his one eye. It's probably difficult for him to see however far back Theratrix is. Theratrix kind of sticks up.
Can't fucking see you, man.
Come here, come lick his face.
And you just hear him go, wow.
I had so much that I wanted to say and tell you, and now that I'm home, I can't think of a damn thing. He's gonna, like, the way you hug somebody who's very old
Yes, and lying, yeah.
and who's laying there and you don't want to break them. Like, he's gonna, like,
Yeah. With one arm, you all see just an arm that, like, goes around Eldon.
I feel we're like invading this like very personal moment.
It's a large enough space that
I know,
you're,
we're
like,
just like a bunch of
hovering, but-
strangers.
I would introduce you, but it doesn't seem like he has much time left. Eldon does not say that out loud.
Yeah.
What do you mean I don't have much time left?
Where am I? Who are you? Who am I?
He says, looking at Theratrix and then to you, smiling, of course, very weakly, says, I knew you would become something great. You already were. From the moment I saw you. Something great.
Tears are freely flowing from Eldon's face. He's not sobbing, but they're coming. Thank you for everything you've taught me, everything you've shown me.
I would say the same to you.
He's just gonna put his head down next to him. Everybody else can do what they want as far as stay or leave, but Eldon's staying there.
Look around the room. I'll be like,
He's too afraid to say more without, like, breaking down.
Yeah.
It's basically like it's almost like his real father, in a sense, you know what I mean?
oh, this one didn't shoot an arrow at your head.
He says, after a few minutes, it's important what I'm about to say. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Don't hold on to anger for what they did. To me. It was what they knew. Questions were not safe. I would not have sent you if I didn't know you could handle what needed to be done. And I won't claim to know if it was the right decision, but it is the decision that you made.
And now everybody else has to live with it.
Always. They have been living with the decisions made by myself and the other masters for a very long time.
I have hopes that what remains of the Keepers and the Liberators, that they'll join and become something new, something better than they both were. I think both have a lot to learn from each other.
I hope you are right.
So, like, towards, like, hand. My poor grandpa.
He says, I want you to know how proud I am. How far you came. Even when rocks were thrown and names were called. You kept at it.
There's nothing else to do.
You will be a very good leader. You already are.
This is like everything Eldon has ever wanted to hear in his entire life. It's this little lizard Yoda guy telling him.
Eldon, there is another.
There is, too. There's two.
And there is that moment where, again, Master Andrex had always been so big, and like he's a dragonborn. He was big and powerful, and as always happens in these situations, when this is the way someone is going, they just shrink, and it's very shocking. But I would imagine even more so for like a man who goes from a child to a large, human being, and is suddenly bigger than this person lying in the bed. He goes quiet at that point. You can tell he's just trying to conserve energy.
Does it hurt?
You see him smile again, and he looks at you.
Yeah. Eldon's gonna like put his hand on his chest, and I know that cure wounds isn't a cure-all, but he's going to try to use some of that energy to just ease the pain.
Okay.
I know it doesn't add HP or anything.
Magical
Yeah.
morphine.
Pretty much, that's what I was thinking. I was just pumping him full of a shot to relax him a little bit.
He sighs, like this deep sigh when you do that, and you're just able to kind of sit together with Theratrix there by your side. Any other scenes before I wrap this one?
In the hallway outside this room, what is there? They're like windows and trophy cases.
Yeah, there's windows, there's other, branching off hallways. Seems to be like maybe the master's suites where the different masters stay. Outside would be Cora and, Shaw. The two masters who are kind of standing off to the side, whispering to one another a little bit. Mostly probably about Master Andrax and what's going on in the room. They don't seem to be looking at you necessarily, and they've separated themselves on purpose from where you are.
How is everyone holding up?
A lot better than some of the people we've seen.
True.
These so-called masters are putting on a brave face, but you can still see it.
Their whole way of life is changing. Some of them, that's been a very long time.
Well, the Liberages knew how to have fun, so hopefully these keepers will learn to adapt and have some fun. I still can't believe that Eldon did not drink when we met him. I mean...
I guess we've all changed in these last few months.
That's true.
And the world is changing around us.
Literally.
So, question for the group. Would you stay until Master Andrax's passing, or are you trying to get to Rilsk where Astrum's End is as soon as possible? What kind of delay are you willing to accept? You know that Astrum's End is doing their thing and they're waiting for you. They have not given you a time. Is your plan to wait or leave immediately?
That depends on Eldon. I mean, I have no attachment to this old man, and I also have no attachment to Astrum's End.
Eldon would give it at least a few days if it was up to him, but he's not the only one. If the others were able to convince him one way or another, and he's certainly I'm looking at you. If Iolite would try to convince him to go.
I don't know. I don't think she would. I don't think she's going to be like, leave the He's dying. Let's just go. He probably wouldn't even notice
Just
you're
pull the
gone at
sheet
this
over.
point.
He's already
He's fine.
3/4 of the
Just
way
take
there.
the pillow. And come along.
I'm still here.
We can speed this process up if you want.
Kai's like, I am
Just
hungry.
more of that morphine. I'm just more and
Cure
more.
wounds.
Just cure wounds him to death. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, mercy.
Okay. So if you're going to give it a little bit, like stay until I mean, it's always so tough with this kind of thing, but for the sake of fantasy, we'll say that he is clearly only a couple of days out. So we'll say, you settle into Skyhome. Eldon, you're able to show everyone around in between visits.
This is my bedroom, Iolite.
He would not
Like,
show
it's a
it. No.
little like
It's like
hay
closet.
pile.
It legitimately, yeah.
So it's like barracks, right?
Yeah.
It's like stone floor. You sleep on like the initiates sleep basically on like potato sacks, like nothing in them. Just the windows are open. There's no glass in the window. It's just purposely drafty. It's fucking horrible. Of course, they're all empty now because you said they said that most
A
of
lot
the
of people left. I mean, there are some, so I'll say, like, as you're showing people around over the, coming days, in between sitting with Andrax, you see some people return who had left. It is definitely a different air about everybody. There are people, they're just like waiting for purpose and for someone to give them that. Zurich and the Grandmaster do, they spend a lot of time those first couple of days meeting with the other masters. And not that you're not invited, but Zurich, like, he lets you know he'll give you the rundown. His
I
goal,
see how it is. Already getting closed up.
his
No,
goal,
well, Eldon did purposely state like he can't stay.
right.
He's the outdoor voice, you're the indoor voice.
There you go.
Yeah. His goal is to gather everyone from the Molten Roost who are on their way. There are quick ways of passing from the Coal Spire, the different towers, to Skyhome, but it is very heavily guarded. So, and it's limited use. They purposely do not have it that a whole army of people can just appear.
That's definitely something that Eldon would have brought up to Zurich about, the entire thing that happened on the island. For example, the assassination of Prana, Aporia. That's certainly a worry in his mind.
Oh, yeah. One thing that you learn while you're there for a couple of days is that there are rumors that within the womb where people were, folks have been able, at least a couple of them have been able to escape, and they all described being wrapped around with the wings from possibly Vascan Veterix. And you kind of, sitting, with Theratrix, think back to your speech, your prayer that you gave at that shrine. And just wonder if maybe that connection had anything to do with ensuring the safety of your kin in those spaces, even if you had never met those particular people before.
Looks like that paid off.
There comes a morning, we'll say 2 or 3 mornings later, where Seisha comes to get you, Eldon, to let you know that overnight Andrax left this plane. And they bring you over to, his bed so that you and Theratrix can have final moments with him. And then that evening, there's led by Zurich, who has all of these great speech-giving qualities, a funeral of sorts to lay him to rest with the other masters. whenever a Drake Warden would pass on, the Drake would disappear with them. So that one piece is missing from the rites, but they do lay him to rest with the other masters. And then Zurich, when that's completed, we'll say there's like a dinner in memoriam, and folks all get together, and some of them share their memories. There are several keepers who, like, as people are coming back, there are a few who you don't have to have the anger for what happened to Master Andrax, because there are some people who have it for you. There are some, what's her name? The one that you had met in Dahim, which I'm not going to remember all of their names. It was like Mirsa.
Started with an M.
Yeah.
You didn't agree to not hold a grudge. He just asked.
I'm not saying nothing yet. This is going to be Order 66. We're just getting everybody in the building.
We fly off, and then the building just explodes.
Tierden and Myris. They appear at a certain point, and you can tell that Myris, she comes up, gives you like a hug. Again, nothing that you're used to. Tierden is very, not standoffish, but just quiet. There's almost you can feel that loss more from Tierden, in that they used the ears of their Drake for their whole life. And so having that loss, they're just a little bit figuring out the world anew at this point. But Myris comes over. You can tell that, like, she's holding Tierden's hand a lot and, like, bringing them over with her. And her rage is very clear. Even afterwards, she just takes you aside and is like, I'm gonna make them pay for this. One way or another. They kept him in that... I heard that they kept him in a cell, alone. And he withered away, and they did not care. They would have gladly seen him die alone in there. They're the reason why we're here today.
Eldon's like, his hands are clenching. And then he lets it go. That isn't what he would have wanted. He told me it wasn't what he wanted.
Well, he's not here.
But we are. And we have to try to be better than what came before.
You know what, Eldon? I'm gonna leave that part to you. She turns around, grabs Tierden's hand. You see them kind of like... Tierden looks back and forth between you, almost like trying to read facial expressions, and then is pulled away by Myris into the crowd. You don't get an impression of, like, an immediate danger, just an anger that lingers.
He tried. That's it. He didn't say he was gonna. He didn't promise nothing. He just...
A new villain was born today.
Iolite, you would get back another message through the sending stone. This time it's Desdir. There's all these voices coming through, but Desdir says, "Hey, I miss you. Glad you're okay. I saw a dragon in the sky. I heard that was you? Pretty rad. Message me back."
Call me maybe.
Hey, yeah. So it wasn't like me, but yeah, it was us. Pretty cool, right? Miss you too.
P.S. Eldon is like the best kisser in the world.
I kissed a boy and I like.
Just two little like things, like the red when it's like two little arrows or whatever, two little checks.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, when you send it and when you receive it.
Oh, I didn't. I thought you were talking about like an emoji, like the checkmark emoji.
No, like when you send a message, like on the messenger.
It's a somber mood, but there are moments where there's laughter. Zurich also seems to be like, now that this has happened, that now that he got his way, he is much more jovial. He was already a pretty like smiley guy, but he was pretty serious in the mountain because he needed to. This was a serious time. He had been waiting for quite some time for this.
It's
But
like, look at me. I am Grandmaster now.
you do notice that the masters are a lot more subdued. The Grandmaster has like stepped to the side, not necessarily into the shadows, but is allowing Zurich to take this space. How about insight checks from everybody? Let's get a roll in here.
Crap, I can't use that. Hold on. My brain needs to wake up.
Only a 9.
A 9, okay.
18.
18,
21.
21.
Can't see this.
Glasses.
Next one.
I'm so plus 9, 12.
None of that
plus
one I
9.
saw.
3.
No, 3.
21. 21.
21, okay.
So 7 total.
Okay.
We're just looking at each other. That's all. These guys know exactly what's going on, but we're just lost in each other's eyes.
So, yeah, Eldon and Iolite, you are not paying attention. But the other
making
three
googly eyes
just
at each
kind
other.
of
Playing
I was
footsie
gonna
under
say,
the table.
footsie under the table. I don't actually realize it's Kai.
I was going to say, I'm like, you sit next to Catherine, she goes, that's me.
Stop kicking me.
I'll say for Ayla, looking at Zurich and the Grandmaster, you are, as a performer, kind of, you're in tune with people's reactions to things. You have to be on top of whether a show is going well or not. And looking at the Grandmaster, you can't quite put your finger on it, but you can definitely see that whatever Zurich is putting down, the Grandmaster is not picking up. Not in a they don't get it kind of way, but more in a that smile is like a slight sneer, and you don't get the impression that Zurich's way is immediately translating into the way the Grandmaster would see things. Kai, similarly, as a person who's been around royalty, for you, it's more like watching the Grandmaster's face, and then even Master Caliph, Drenvor, the Lore Master, they kind of lean in and whisper to each other. You get more of a sense of, like, politics is already happening here. And Zurich is likely to be strong and has very dedicated followers. These people were dedicated enough to live in the mountain, far away from this, leave this, or even infiltrate this space for him. But it's not going to be an easy road.
They're not going to just start singing Kumbaya all around the fire.
Yeah. But it will be interesting because they are not powerless. People were given powers. They have powers left over from their drakes, but what made them the keepers is gone. And so how will that translate with royalty? And then similarly, Kethra, see, I can't fucking get your name right. Having grown up in like a cult-like, and the way people look at the leader, although it was rare and didn't last long when you did see it, the look that the Grandmaster and at least one or two of the other masters are giving Zurich is that of a kind of hatred. And in your own home, it was short-lived, or people got very good at hiding. Any kind of dirty look or the way your face betrays you with the little micro expressions was swiftly dealt with if other people saw it. You had to get really good at hiding your face. Mm-hmm. And so here they might feel still that level of power where they don't have to hide it. But you get the same as like the three of you kind of look at each other across table, and all three look at the master and at Zuruk. You don't think Zuruk's a stupid person. Like, he's not sitting there like, they love me. But he's going to have an upward battle here.
Since I'm assuming, unless there's a hidden stash of alcohol, there's no wine at this funeral feast, right?
I would say that the Liberators would have brought some.
Oh,
because
okay,
there are
good.
some Liberators here.
So I was
going
to bust out some wine from the closet, but
yeah, no, it's been
I'll
a
drink
few
theirs.
days.
And then lifting up a wine, letting you two play footsie. We'll say, I'll sit closer to them and just put the glass of wine and go, I do not think that old Master Dragon is particularly happy about any of this.
He looks particularly pissed.
He was at the top of the pyramid, and he's been knocked down a few pegs.
Eldon and Ayla, you would hear what they're talking about. You didn't see.
Oh, no, we're
But-
just...
You're
just
so cute. No, you're so cute. You're cute. Do you think they will plot anything against him?
Time will tell.
I don't think it'll be anything outright. Whispers, speak of things, but the Grandmasters know that their true source of power is gone. Half of it is status, and someone with a dragon is offering a truce.
It is a good insurance policy.
The Keepers won't want to change the way they do things, but if they want to survive, they're going to have to learn how to. Lots of changes will be happening here.
Yeah. Good for them.
I hope they can both learn from each other. That is my greatest hope here. That the discipline of the Keepers and met with the adaptability of the Liberators create something better, something that will protect the people even far greater than they had before.
The Liberators were quite fun. I really hope they do not become stuffy.
You hear Zuruk's laugh.
I doubt that will happen.
The harumphing of the other.
I didn't get a harumph from that guy.
No merriment. There is no joy.
Okay.
I do want to thank you all for staying and for being here with me. I don't have the words to to explain how much I appreciate it. It means everything to me.
We couldn't let you have all the fun.
Fun.
I can't wait till we meet the next god.
When you say that, like the little Neclear, the like creepy old woman with the big mouth and too many, like the Cheshire cat smile, he like shakes. So we'll try to conclude our business here, and then I think it's on to the capital city to meet back up with Astrom's End and Desdeer. He looks away from Iolite when he says does. Yeah.
And how do we get there? Do we have to walk? Is there a teleportation ring somewhere here?
There was never any need for teleportation rings when they had the drakes.
Master Drenvor suddenly is right next to you all. And
Teleports?
right there with you all. He's like, good evening.
Hello?
Hello.
Howdy.
Did we meet this guy yet?
It's one of the you would have known. You've been here for a few days, several days at this point. And it is the name of the person whose shit he stole.
Oh, okay.
Master of Lore. So he says to you all, we absolutely do have a teleportation circle within the halls. Eldon.
They do absolutely have a teleportation circle
Which
within the
is,
walls.
I have read many books, and in places like this, typically tend to have them.
There was no need for any of the nestlings or non-masters to have quick access to the city
Just more secrets.
or other towers.
She says with with sass, looking at you and then rolling her eyes up.
They're a work in progress.
I am, of course, pleased to make your acquaintance officially. I am Master Drenvor, lore keeper here at Skyhome. You all are clearly not from our area. I would love to sit with you individually and take down any interesting stories from home that you'd be willing to share. Although my Drake is no longer with me, it does not mean that my purpose is gone.
Is he? Do I get the feeling he's being sincere, or is he just kind of like blowing smoke up our ass?
You can make an insight check.
Like that fake.
Well, at least not towards one of us. Really interested in one of us.
18.
You, I'll say it is likely that a person who takes down this kind of information, while they're not necessarily interested in you, like you're watching this facial expression, it could be you could be anybody else. They want your knowledge. They want what you have to say. You do see them like continuously looking at Kai specifically, kind of like over and over again. Like they look at all of you and they look at Eldon, who you would think would be where the eyes would linger most. Possibly a tiefling because, you know, you're new-ish, but mostly looking at Kai.
You should be looking at me. There's something up with this guy. Well, I believe we are departing in the morning. But,
well, then who wants to go first?
well, I mean, what do we get out of this?
Well, you'll have your name written in my next endeavor of publishing. I will be writing books on everything that I learn and publishing that so individuals will have access to the knowledge that I'm gathering. It's important to be sharing.
The public reads your writings. It's not kept in a nest somewhere.
Well, my personal works
That's
are
racist.
kept in a...
Eldon like looks over and that's fucking.
Is he a dragon?
Dragonborn.
I just.
Yeah, he's a dragonborn.
Oh,
He's a
That's racist as fuck.
silver scale.
I mean, they live. You sleep on fucking hay nests and
Not the
shit.
masters. I mean, I have published one particular tome that I'm quite proud of. Yes, but this was on the history of Medea, Aprana, and Devenia. Very interesting history, we'll say, of those royal families. I do have a copy, the original copy of the tome, if you would like to read it. Blood and Thrones. Comprehensive chronicle of the nobles and politics of Devenia, Medea, Aprana, and Drestella. I'm working on an annotated draft.
Vampires are vampires are vampires. Not in the venue.
I was working on an annotated draft, however, all of my notes just... I cannot find them. I misplaced them.
Did they disappear with the Drake?
No. They disappeared prior.
He was mid writing and poof.
Perhaps someone's trying to beat you to the punch.
No. There's no one that knows as much as I do about the royal families. But I would love to know more about where you all are from. I can tell Divenia accent very easy to place. I would assume Cassia or Kalia for the two of you. And Eldon, of course, I've known for quite some time. Perhaps I could start with the two of you.
Never cared about my story before.
I suppose it does not hurt for the tale of the woven fates to be written down and spread to the people.
The woven fates. Who is that?
That is what we.
You are sitting at the table with them.
That is what we call ourselves,
Oh,
or what we've been called.
I can start a new draft. Why don't you come join me? The two of you. I know we're not allowed to have any alcohol, but master of lore. I have a very good bottle of Apron and wine in my quarters.
Well, you certainly know the way to a lady's heart.
Come, the two of you, please.
Okay.
He leads you off. You see them go.
Never
He's talking
separate the
about
party.
And he will do whatever he can to get you comfortable enough to tell him about your lives, and he writes it all down.
Gonna drink wine and tell stories. And then that fucking Eldon.
Oh, do tell. Right.
Eldon is going to excuse himself from the table if there's nothing else that's going on, and he's going to go to Master Andrax's room.
Okay. There's no one there. It's quiet. Everything is as he left it.
He's going to sit on the bed and just take in the room that he's been in so many times one last time. Is there any, if he starts like going through some stuff, is there anything that would be of any kind of interest to him whatsoever? What got him in trouble was asking questions and looking up stuff about Eldon and whatnot.
Make an investigation check.
18.
Plus?
Nothing.
Oh.
Eldon, it would take a little while because he was looking things up that he should not have been, so it was not in areas
It's under
that...
like a squeaky floorboard.
Yeah.
You know, like
Definitely not, like, just out and about.
It's the trick drawer. You open up the drawer with a fake bottom.
it's the key is always taped underneath the desk. Always.
Find a Polaroid painting of you and him.
So you definitely would find that there are notes. There are old. It's only a very small like packet of things. It's not like you find a big cache, but some notes, some questions. You can tell that he had found out about the existence of the Liberators, about Zurich more specifically. That he had some torn pages from somewhere that mentioned Zurich by name, that this had to have been from 100 years ago, like when it first happened, before Andrax would have been alive. Notes on, you see like names of people who you had never seen before. You recognize Iskar's name from Zerla, her friend who like was erased. You see just notes and names and notations. You do see that several of those names, it's very clear that those people were killed. If they got too close to certain information, then they were killed. Or spies from the liberators that were caught, recruiters and whatnot. There was, they justified what they felt they needed to do in that moment. For others where they maybe had just started and were showing that they could become troublemakers later, those were kicked out. Code Z's in there as well as having been kicked out. And
Cozy lost her swimming dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck. Whew, that's a rough one. Yeah. Ooh, that's gonna be my personal nemesis now. She's gonna come hunt me down.
She doesn't know it was you.
She's gonna figure it out.
Is there anything in his stash of notes about learning new, how Cozy could use different, not elements, different types of
yes,
damage, for lack of a better word?
that you find actually in notes that are not necessarily hidden. It is also clear, we'll say, as you learn, that the masters at the keepers decided which elements you all were going to be able to learn. There were numerous others, but they decided that it would be these and that they would not teach any others, and they would not teach that you could expand beyond, or how to, not even acknowledge that there was a possibility. And that was due to needing to be able to control what the keepers had access to, if in part because if you are only taught 4 things but they know that there's 15, they have much more power over you all as a group.
Yeah, it's a case of I taught you everything you know, but not everything I know.
Yes.
Type situation.
If they needed to tamp down on anything, they would be able to easily do that, because you wouldn't have the fire and ice kind of thing. There's other things that you don't know how to fight back against.
Yeah, that packet of notes he'll take to dissect at a later date.
And I was actually going to say, in addition, Kai, you would have learned some additional information from Drenvor's notes as well. I would just have to find it. There's so much.
Reading them right out in the open, but you got the Sports Almanac cover instead.
I don't know where I put it, but
In the meantime, he's sitting in the room, just trying to breathe in the familiar smells. It'll probably be the last time in quite a long time he'll ever be back. So.
okay. I will close out that day. Zuruk approaches you all the next day once you've come together, and you will say it's the 33rd of celebration. The next month is upon you. Manifestation 1 will begin tomorrow, and
Everyone
Zuruk,
get your vision boards ready. Begin manifesting.
he says, I'm going to take off with some of the other liberators and keepers to do what we can in the womb and elsewhere along the hills to find anyone who may not have been able to escape. The Grand Master says you are welcome to use the teleportation circle to get to Rilsk, and the royal family has been notified of your impending arrival today. I can hold it down until you return to take your place here.
Thank you. I'm not sure when I'll be back, but I will be. Just be careful.
Always. I can tell the way they look at me. How they've always looked at me.
Just
Except now I was right.
as true as that is, just be careful.
Keep your name clean out there. You will be returning here to Skyhome, and what you bring with you will follow you. It will not let go. And there will be politics here for you, waiting for your return.
Yay. My favorite.
The easy part is over.
Take care of yourself. And take care of all of them.
You watch that sweet orgas while we're gone.
Ignoring what Ayla just said.
Just kind of like,
Eldon's gonna like reach up to Pyrothorn and do that,
Yeah.
like the
She said it with a wink.
like the almost like petting of the big scaly cheek type thing.
you hear like the little trilling of this large dragon.
Oh, you purred when I did it? Nice.
I don't know if a dragon purrs.
It did.
It's probably got to be terrifying.
I know. It's a fucking 60-foot long lion type thing. Like that.
It's like when an alligator makes that
Yeah.
deep grumble.
Does Theratrix and Pyrothorn have a moment?
Yeah, they've spent quite a bit of time together, like sitting next to one another, not speaking, at least not outwardly, which is interesting, given that the bond was technically broken. So you're not sure if they are communicating or just
Just being giant cats.
being together. Yeah,
Like the way two cats will lay together and just, just
you know
sit.
they're talking.
Yeah. Planning your demise.
Have mine do that. I know they're talking shit about me.
Yeah,
Right?
they might be. They're
They most certainly are.
We'll say, I'll retcon because I found my shit. Kai, the night before you found this extract from this like personal court, you kind of like steal away to, that Drenvor's chatting with them. You find this extract from this personal correspondence from Drenvor to the Keeper's Circle that says, "Fellow Keepers, my investigations into Devenia have taken a treacherous turn. I am consistently warned against prying too far into vampire activity, particularly names like Azura and Samael. I fear attracting unwanted attention from powerful undead. To preserve my safety, I shall pause overt inquiries for a time. However, the Morningstar puzzle remains unsolved. Did Rebecca truly rendezvous with a vampire before marrying Michael Corvus? Was Malachi, her son, cursed or perhaps gifted with a vampiric lineage? Is it mere coincidence that rumors of half-vampire children coincide with an ancient champion's descendants? I suspect these questions have already drawn me closer to danger than I anticipated. As a keeper, it is my duty to preserve truths, but I value caution as much as curiosity." You also find an update on the fate of Prince Malachi and the mysterious disappearance of Lady Isabel Fanix, daughter of mid-ranking noble family, a friend or confidant of Mallory Morningstar, last seen in the castle. Official statement is she left for an excursion in Cassia. No public sightings or verifiable confirmations, however. And then Prince Malachi's decline and death noted that Prince Malachi fell ill. Per the official declaration, he was seldom seen in public even before his reported illness. A short time after Lady Isabel's disappearance, rumors emerged of Malachi's passing. A private funeral, family only, to reduce speculation and rumors. And then he has a little personal observation just handwritten underneath. The secrecy surrounding his death invites more questions than answers. If the prince truly perished, why keep it so quiet? Why coincide it with the disappearance of someone close to his sister? And coincide is a general statement because it was many months, but in the time.
Isabel was the one that Kai. Okay, I was for some reason I got confused between that name and the one of the your old not maid.
Madame Lowry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Morning Stars claim a desire for privacy, yet their stories grow murky as the days pass. And at the end of the notes, Drenvor writes, between Bernard's ancient obsession, Rebecca's alleged liaison, and Malachi's rumored vampiric blood, one overarching theme emerges. Something entrenched in the Morningstar lineage keeps luring the undead to their doorstep. Perhaps a consequence of ties that span centuries, the parallels to Dagon of the Dawn's Light are too striking to be mere coincidence. I am no detective, nor do I aspire to be, yet every path I follow leads me back to the same conclusion. The Morningstar's heritage brims with secrets far older and darker than the public record admits. Whether these secrets are blessings or curses, only time and the boldness of future scholars will tell.
This dude's ye old TMZ.
I was gonna say it's like this Malachi and Morningstar like soap opera. When you listed all those like questions, I felt like it needed to end with like tune in next week for as the world turns.
All right. Is everyone ready to head into Rilsk?
Mm-hmm. It's our first teleportation in this campaign.
I believe
Yes.
so, yeah.
It is a
so-
very rare occurrence. Don't get used to it.
I brought it up because I didn't want to walk.
Zuruk leads you, along with the other masters, to a separate building entirely from what you're used to in Skyhome. You leave the main space and head off into the mountains. It takes an hour or more to get to this place where this circle is. There is one thing about the land of Eleothis. Strong magic is very heavily guarded, and this is incredibly strong magic. It's very dangerous. It is inviting people to just appear in your home. So it is separate. Even Kai would know the one at the castle is not in the castle. That would be suicide. It is something that if there is a teleportation circle within the city, it will be somewhere where, you know, maybe an underground passage leads you there. There's an escape plan to get there, and it's not in your house. So you would expect similarly, like they lead you out. There is a path. The wind is whipping through the mountains as you all head in that direction. You reach this space that is inside of a carved out tunnel. This has clearly been built by humanoid hands. There are pillars in there. It's very beautifully decorated marble, stone, and this teleportation circle that is there with guards around. And Zuruk comes over, not kneels down, but leans down and like gives Eldon this big, like strong hug with these orc arms. Orcish,
Tries to
mossy
hug him
arms.
back, but he's so wide and big that he's like.
He goes over to you, Ayla, and says, I will do my best to keep my own eyes on my own ass. It's not a feat I have achieved yet, but I am a voice of the world dragon now.
It is a week of miracles.
He goes to each of you and just says, like, keep him safe. Bring him back. I won't be able to do this alone for very long. You then... it's not a big enough chamber for Pyrothorin to be with you. He's outside, but there are tricks.
Goodbye, friends.
Eldon, before he goes in, he's going to take one long last look at the landscape of the mountains. A good long look. Just try to imprint that almost like a snapshot in his mind. before he rejoins everybody.
And from that angle, you're looking out over. You can see the city from where you're at, way off in the distance, probably 50 or so miles to the north. And then to the south, I picture you kind of like looking to the west. You're on a ledge that overlooks where you can see northwest out into the Blessed Myers. Miles and miles of greens of various types. You can see creatures, large creatures, like flying across, and trees moving off in the distance. And then down to the southwest is the Jaws, with the valley of the Jaws, where people typically, that's like where the fork or crossroad is. If you're going to go to the city or down to this other city in the Blessed Myers, deep in the Blessed Myers, Stone Yard, or to the path that leads to Dahim. Zurich will stand beside you as you do that, just not saying anything. And then when you're ready to go, he just kind of shakes your hand.
Make sure that my parents make it home safe.
They're already home.
Take care of yourself.
You as well.
And I'll step into the circle.
You all step into this teleportation circle. The master of lore is standing there and begins chanting. You can see this yellow kind of color that comes up, it starts beaming up from the teleportation circle. And as you, right before your vision kind of like snaps to that feeling of like you're being elongated into that white, just like...
As the light starts to come, he's going to reach down and he's going to put like, intertwine his fingers with Iolite's. Hold her hand.
Your stomachs drop. The last thing you see is Zurich smiling with his big, toothy, jagged teeth. And white as you teleport to the city of Rilsk.
Ayla would be like, so what is this place we're going to be? Is it going to... What the fuck?
And that is where we will end tonight's session.
Then we'll begin with...